I'm 75 years old, and I'm about to tell you something that might upset you, not because it's rude, not because it's dramatic, but because it's true. Everything you think you know about time, about getting older, about later, about someday, is completely wrong. And the worst part?
The people who should have warned you, your parents, your teachers, society, either didn't know or they knew and stayed quiet because the truth is uncomfortable, because the truth doesn't sell well. The truth doesn't fit on a greeting card. The truth doesn't sound productive. The truth doesn't make your boss happy, and it definitely doesn't make you feel safe. But I'm going to tell you anyway, because I just lost my best friend of 55 years. And when you lose someone who has been stitched into your life for that long, something happens to your brain. The world gets quieter. Not peaceful quiet, no. A different quiet. A quiet that makes you hear your own life ticking. You start noticing time the way you notice a dripping faucet in the middle of the night. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. So listen, I'm not making this video to impress you. I'm not making this video to sound wise. I'm making this because I'm running out of time. And there are things you need to hear before it's too late. Not for me, for you. Because the lie you're living with right now, the lie you don't even realize you're living with, is the same lie I lived with for decades. And it cost me moments I can't get back. It cost me words I never said. It cost me phone calls I kept postponing. It cost me one last afternoon with the man who knew me better than anyone on earth. And if I can save you from even a fraction of that regret, then this pain won't be wasted. So let me start at the beginning, not the beginning of my life, the beginning of us. 1. How it started. The friendship that became a lifetime. I met him when I was 20. 20. You know what's funny about being 20? You genuinely believe your life is about to begin. You think the real story starts later, after you figure things out, after you get money, after you land the job, after you become someone. But at 20, you don't realize the story is already happening. And you don't realize that the people you meet around that age, some of them aren't just friends. They become landmarks. They become the before and after of your entire existence. His name was Daniel. We called him Danny. We met because of something stupid, something small, a shared class, a mutual friend, a joke at the wrong time. I can still see it. A hallway that smelled like old books and cheap coffee. His laugh, loud, unashamed. That kind of laugh that tells you, I'm alive and I'm not apologizing for it. He looked at me like we'd known each other for years, and just like that, I had a friend. Not a hangout sometimes friend, a real one. The kind who tells you the truth when you're being an idiot. The kind who shows up when you're broke. The kind who will drive across town at midnight because you said, I need you. We grew up together in real time, not childhood, no. We grew up the hard way. Jobs, bills, relationships, failures, humiliations, long nights, quiet victories. He was there for the first heartbreak, the first job that crushed my soul, the first time I thought, maybe I'm not who I thought I was. And I was there for him, too. We were each other's mirror, and for 55 years, that friendship was one of the few things in my life that felt solid. Like no matter what changed, we were still we, until one day, we weren't. 2. The day I got the call, and why I'll never forget it. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you've known someone for so long that your brain doesn't store them as a person. Your brain stores them as part of life, like gravity, like mornings, like seasons. You don't think, one day they won't be here. You think, of course they'll be there. Of course we'll talk again. Of course we'll catch up. That's how the mind protects itself. Because if you truly understood how fragile everything is, you'd go insane. So the mind makes deals with reality. It gives you the illusion of permanence. And then reality breaks the deal. The day Danny died, my phone rang early in the morning, early enough that the light in the room looked pale, unfinished, like the day hadn't fully decided to exist yet. I remember the screen lighting up, a number I didn't recognize, and something in my gut tightened. You ever feel that? That little tightening, that silent warning? I answered, and the voice on the other end said his name, not Danny, not the nickname, his full name. And when someone says your best friend's full name with that kind of careful tone, your stomach drops before your mind can catch up. The voice said, "I'm so sorry, he's gone." Gone. Not past, not we lost him. Gone. Like a light switched off. Like an entire library burned down. Like a piece of the world deleted itself. I didn't cry immediately. I didn't do anything dramatic. I just sat there, staring at my own hand like it belonged to someone else. And the first thought that hit me wasn't even noble. It wasn't spiritual. It wasn't poetic. It was this. No, that can't be right. I was going to call him. That's what I thought. I was going to call him. Do you hear how stupid that sounds? I was going to. I was going to. I was going to. Those words are the graveyard where most people bury their life. 3. The biggest lie you're telling yourself right now. Let me tell you the biggest lie you're probably telling yourself right now. It's not, I'm not good enough. It's not, I'm too old. It's not, I'm too young. It's 3 words. I have time. I'll do it later. I'll call next week. I'll visit when things calm down. I'll take that trip when work slows. I'll start living after this project. I'll focus on my health after this deadline. I'll fix that relationship when I'm less stressed. Let me save you years of regret with one brutal truth. Time is not waiting for your schedule. Time is not impressed by your plans. Time does not care that you were busy. Time does not care that you meant well. And time does not give refunds. You don't make time. You spend it. And most people spend it the way rich kids spend money, like it's infinite. And then one day, the account is empty, and you're standing there shocked. For why this hit me so hard? Because Danny was my later. Here's what hurts the most. Danny and I weren't strangers who lost touch. We talked, we checked in, we laughed. But for the last few years, we kept doing this thing. We kept postponing the real time. We'd do the quick call, the "Hey, how you doing?" call, the surface level update, and then one of us would say it, "Let's get together soon." Soon. That word is poison, because soon has no date. Soon is where your best intentions go to die quietly. And every time we said it, we meant it. We weren't lying, but we were still wrong, because life isn't measured in intentions. Life is measured in moments, and moments don't wait. I kept telling myself, we have time. We've known each other forever. We'll always be there. I thought our history protected us. I thought 55 years of friendship meant the universe owed us more. That's not how it works. You can love someone for 55 years and still lose them in one morning. The funeral line that broke me. At his funeral there was this moment, a quiet moment, the kind that feels like the air itself is holding its breath. Danny's son stood up to speak. I watched him walk to the front. I watched his hands shake slightly as he held the paper. and I realized something that hit me like a punch. I used to see Danny as my friend. But to this young man, Danny was his father, a whole separate universe, a different relationship, a different set of memories. And then his son said something that split my chest open. He said, "My dad was a great man, but I always thought we'd have more time." There it was again. Time. Always time. And then he paused, swallowed, and said, "I kept waiting for a calmer season to really know him." A calmer season. Listen to me. Life does not have calm seasons the way you think it does. It has brief pauses, little breath marks. And if you don't use those pauses, the story keeps moving until you're past the chapter you wanted. That sentence haunted me, because I realized I did the same thing, not with Danny exactly, but with life, with people, with myself. 6. My own wake-up moment. The day my heart tried to end it. I need to tell you something personal, because if I'm going to say these things to you, I need to earn the right. At 52, I had what doctors call a cardiac event. Fancy phrase. What it really means is my heart tried to kill me. I was in a meeting, quarterly projections, targets, numbers, charts. I was doing what responsible adults do. And then the room started spinning. My vision narrowed, like someone was pulling a curtain closed. The next thing I remember, I'm waking up in a hospital bed with tubes in my arms, my wife crying in the corner, doctors saying, "You're lucky." Lucky, imagine that. You come face to face with death, and they call it luck. But they were right, because lying there, unable to move much, unable to distract myself, I realized something terrifying. I had been living on autopilot. I wasn't really alive. I was existing, checking boxes, chasing approval, chasing a version of success that evaporates the moment you touch it. And the question that came to me in that bed wasn't, did I achieve enough? It was this: if I die right now, did I actually live? That question changes you, or it breaks you. Most people avoid it. They drown it out with noise. Work noise, entertainment noise, social media noise, busy noise. But you can't outrun it forever. Eventually, time catches you, and it doesn't catch you gently. 7. The ladder against the wrong wall. I spent decades climbing a ladder. Career ladder, respect ladder, achievement ladder. And the higher I climbed, the more I believed I was doing it right. Because people applauded, people nodded, people said, "You're doing great." But here's what nobody tells you. You can climb for 30 years, and only realize at the top, the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall, and you can't climb back down and restart at 20. Time doesn't work like that. You don't get a practice life. This is it. And Danny's death reminded me of something brutal. Even if you turn it around, you still don't get unlimited time. You just get whatever is left. And you'd better spend it like it matters, because it does. 8. What regret really is, and why it's worse than failure. Let me tell you what regret actually feels like. It's not just sadness. It's not just nostalgia. Regret is a quiet poison that shows up when the house is silent. It shows up when you see an old photo. It shows up when you hear a song. It shows up when you suddenly remember something you promised yourself you'd do. And then you realize you can't. Regret isn't about the deals that went bad. I don't lie awake thinking about failed business decisions. Those don't matter. You know what keeps me awake? The trip Danny and I talked about taking for years. We were going to do it. We were going to pick a place, just the two of us, like old times. We'd talk, we'd laugh, We'd walk around somewhere new and pretend we were 20 again. We kept postponing because we were busy. Busy. Let me translate busy for you. Busy means you're spending your life on things you'll barely remember. Busy means you're trading irreplaceable days for replaceable tasks. Busy means you're acting like your time is infinite. And it's not. 9. The moment I realized I had been stealing from my own life after Danny died, I went through our old messages. I scrolled back years, little jokes, random plans. Let's do lunch soon. I'll call you this weekend. And then I found a message from him, from months ago. He said, "Hey, brother, I miss you. Let's not wait so long." I read it 3 times, and my throat tightened. Because I had replied with something casual, something like, "Yeah, man, been slammed. Soon." Soon. That word again, soon. And I realized something that made me feel sick. I wasn't just postponing life, I was stealing from it. Every time I said later, I was making a bet that I would survive, a bet that they would survive, a bet that nothing would change, and that bet eventually fails. For everyone. 10. Here's the truth about time. Nobody wants to say out loud, here's the truth about time. Time isn't fair. Time doesn't care about your character. Time doesn't check if you're ready. Time doesn't wait until you've finally got it together. Time doesn't stop because you're in a rough patch. It just moves, quietly, relentlessly. And one day you wake up and realize a decade went by, and you can't even tell me what you did with it. That's what scares me, not death. What scares me is dying without living. What scares me is spending my one life preparing and never arriving. 11. What matters is embarrassingly simple. After my heart event, I made changes, big ones, not overnight miracles, not motivational nonsense, real changes. I stepped back from the things that were eating my days. I started saying no, not because I became selfish, because I became honest. I started saying yes to things I'd postponed for decades. And here's what I learned in the years since. What matters is embarrassingly simple. Time with people you love. Work that feels meaningful to you. Experiencing things, not owning things. Creating memories. Being present. When you're young, you roll your eyes at this. You think, that's what old people say because they failed. No. Old people say it because they finally understand what the scoreboard really counts. 12. The question that will change you if you let it. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it honestly, not the answer you'd post online, not the answer that makes you look impressive. The real answer. If you died tomorrow, would you be satisfied with the life you've lived so far? Not, would your eulogy sound good? Not, did you achieve enough? Just, would you be satisfied? If the answer is yes, good, protect that. If the answer is no, then what are you waiting for? What are you doing with your time that's so important that you're willing to gamble your one precious life on it? Because that's what you're doing. You're gambling every postponed call, every delayed trip, every I'll start next month, every after this busy season. You're gambling, and time is the house. The house always wins. 13. What I wish I had said to Danny, and what I'm saying to you now. I wish I could have sat with Danny one last time, not to talk about sports, not to joke, not to keep it light. I wish I could have looked him in the eyes and said, "Thank you. You saved parts of my life you'll never even know you saved." Because that's what real friends do. They hold you together when you're falling apart. They remind you who you are. They keep you from disappearing into the machine. And I didn't say it the way I should have. I assumed he knew. I assumed there would be more time. So I'm saying it to you instead. Stop assuming. Stop postponing the words that matter. Stop saving love for later. Later is not guaranteed. 14. The start now list. The simple, hard, real. If I could go back and talk to my 30-year-old self, or my 40-year-old self, or even my 60-year-old self, here's what I would say. Stop trying to impress people who don't matter. Stop sacrificing your health for your career. Stop postponing joy until someday. Stop waiting for permission to live the life you want. Call your parents more often, even if it's awkward, even if you don't know what to say. Call. Visit the friend you keep meaning to visit. Not text, not like, not comment. Visit. Take the trip. Not the someday trip, the real one. Start the thing you keep fantasizing about. The book, the channel, the business, the art, the music, the garden, the skill. Say I love you out loud. Not in your head. Out loud. Forgive someone if the grudge is costing you peace, not because they deserve it, because you deserve freedom. Say no to obligations that drain your soul. Say yes to experiences that make you feel alive. And most importantly, start now, not next year, not after this project, not when you have more money, not when things calm down. Now. Because the perfect time is a myth. Life will always be messy. There will always be bills. There will always be stress. There will always be a reason to wait. And if you wait, you will wake up one day and realize you waited your whole life away. 15. Why I'm calmer now. Even with less time left, I'm 75. If I'm lucky. Maybe 10 or 15 more years. Maybe 20 if I'm blessed. Probably less. And I'm okay with that. Because the last years of my life have been richer than the first half. Not because I made more money. Because I finally started living intentionally. I traveled. I repaired relationships. I became present. I stopped acting like life was a rehearsal. And here's the irony. When you finally understand time is limited, you actually start living. You stop wasting it. You stop postponing joy. You stop negotiating with your own life like you're guaranteed another round. You're not. None of us are. Sicker. The final truth and the final question. Danny's death hurt me. It still hurts me. Sometimes I'll be walking into a room and I'll think, I should tell Danny this. And then I remember, and the air gets heavy for a second. But I also feel something else now, a clarity, a sharpness. Because time has a way of stripping the nonsense. It forces you to see what matters. So here's the truth about time. It will not announce itself leaving. It will not warn you. It will not ask for your permission. One day you will have your last conversation with someone you love. And you probably won't know it's the last. So don't live like you have endless chances. Live like you're mortal, because you are. The clock is ticking. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying it to wake you up. So here's my question to you. What are you going to do with your time? Are you going to keep living the way you've been living, chasing success, postponing joy, telling yourself you'll make time later? Or are you going to wake up today and start living like your time is limited? Because it is. Someday is today. It always has been. If this resonates, share this video with someone you care about. And leave a comment, one sentence. Tell me one thing you're going to stop postponing. And if you want more truths like this, truths that are simple, uncomfortable, and life-changing, subscribe. I have more to say, and not as much time left as I used to. The clock is ticking. What are you going to do with your time?